One of the things we talked about was placement services, like speakers bureaus. And do you want to talk a little bit, Michael, about your perspective on speakers bureaus or placement services?
Yeah, I don't really use them. I've heard that some people have found opportunities by signing up for your local speakers bureau or a national speakers bureau. And if that makes sense for you, then certainly explore it. But it's not a requirement. You don't have to do that in order to land paid speaking engagements. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that especially when you're starting out, it's much more important for you to have that personal connection rather than relying on somebody else to make that connection for you. And it's more beneficial for the people who are organizing the event. Actually, potential guests of the podcast who are pitched by placement services or PR firms or things like that have a higher bar to clear because I don't have any sense of them as a person if I'm getting the pitch from their PR person. We had spoken to someone who we would, I think, both consider to be sort of an A-level speaker for author events. And we asked her about this because we didn't know that many people who use placement services. And even she said that she didn't think she would command the speaker fee that some of the higher level placement services would be looking for in order to represent her. I thought, whoa, if this person feels that way, then, I would feel that way times 10. I think it's one of those things that, like, if you're already a celebrity for some other reason and and you have the money, you have more money than time, you want to hire somebody, it can't hurt as long as you're not locking yourself into a sort of an exclusive agreement with that placement service. The one thing that I would consider looking into, and unfortunately, the organizations that used to offer this, I don't think do anymore, but I have belonged to writers organizations in the past, like national writers organizations who had what they called a speakers bureau, but was really more like a directory of speakers. So you could submit your name and, biographical information and so on, your resume, and they would have it available. And I think they primarily used it to fill panels, like libraries would call them and say, "We're interested in doing a panel on this topic. Can you provide some suggestions?" And they would use it for that. There was no charge to the members for doing that. It was convenient. If you find those kinds of opportunities, certainly, but those kinds of free placement opportunities are few and far between. So I put that further down on the list, especially for beginning speakers.